Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Screenplay Rewind. Potentially the last episode you're going to get for a couple months. So you gotta make it last, I guess. I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron. Buckle in, because this is a 4-hour episode. We're doing a deep dive on Deep Rising.
We're going to go minute by minute on Deep Rising.
More Deep Rising than you ever wanted.
Yeah, I actually like the new name, though, because the original movie script was called Tentacle.
I love it. I love it so much.
I don't know how I feel about just... Yeah, you want to go see Tentacle this Friday night? Yeah, dude, let's go see Tentacle. It's like,
oh, dude, I'm all about watching Tentacle.
Ugh, what a bizarre name for your movie. Also crazy that your movie gets greenlit when it's just like... I guess it's kind of... When it's... I guess it's kind of eye-catching. You're just like, what the fuck is Tentacle?
You just see, like, one of the producers looking at the script. Like, this is a working title, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Deep Rising.
Deep Tentacle.
But yeah, I will hand the mic to you, though. So did you want to talk about why we're going to have to go on break for a couple months?
Yeah, basically we'll be back sometime in January because my wife is going to be having surgery and some of my in-laws are coming to stay with us in that time. And this room is going to be a bedroom. So I'm not going to have anywhere to record anything. My YouTube is going on hiatus, and I'm going to have to step away from the podcast until about sometime in January. I don't have a hard date.
Or we just rebrand as Screenplay Rewind : in-laws, and we just have like 5 people. Just everyone is using the room as a bedroom. Just bring them on in.
We're just all jammed in here around one microphone.
We only cover Deep Rising once a week. That's all we ever cover is
for a
Deep
year.
Rising. Yeah. Deeper rising, deepest rising.
The most deep rising. Deeper rising.
Somehow it's still rising.
Deep rose.
Oh, man. But yeah, so be sure to follow the show on Twitter at SPR Filmcast, and we'll post an update when we're going to be coming back. We will still be announcing at the end of the show what will be the next movie. You'll just have extra time to watch it. And honestly, like, I think we did like a month's worth of break last December around the holidays ish.
December 25th was when Return of the King came out.
Okay,
that was our last one last year, Christmas Day.
So we did I think we did like a couple of weeks like extra break around Christmas and New Year's that like we typically do, and that time of the year always just flies by. So it's not gonna be that big of a deal.
Can you believe it's been a year since our Lord of the Rings coverage? That feels like we just did that.
Yeah, it's really wild. The last year is just like flown by, and I couldn't even tell you like what we've covered since then. So it's just all of a fucking blur.
All the hits, baby.
But yeah, in the meantime, Ron recently got all of the show uploaded to YouTube.
Yes.
So if there's any, if you want to browse the back catalog during the hiatus, always welcome to go back and check it out. Shit, they'd be brand new fucking experiences for Ron and myself too, because I don't remember what I talked about on the last episode, let alone like from 2 years ago. So.
You know what would be interesting is to redo one of the movies we've already done and then go back and compare notes to the original episode.
You know what would be interesting
is not doing any of that.
Everything except for this podcast, according to that lone YouTube commenter that actually got us hits for Buster Shrugs. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. I like how that guy is just like the Lex Luthor of the channel now because he put one idiotic comment on one of the videos that we don't even care about. He's just like,
but that's why I love him.
Yeah, the man took the time out of his day to come after a little old Screenplay Rewind.
Out of all the places, of all the corners in YouTube.
Yeah. And we respect you.
The 2-week-old channel that had 9 hits on a video that now has 79 hits because of him, giving us the algorithmic bump.
I mean, where else can you go to get 52 episodes of deeper, and deepest rising? I mean, come on, man. It's quality entertainment for the entire family, including Ron's entire extended family, because they're co-host. So there you go. But yeah,
dude, if there was ever a sequel to this movie, I hope it would be Deeper Rising.
We're gonna talk about that because the sequel bait for this movie, I'm so sad it didn't happen.
I know.
Because I watched this movie, again, spoilers for Deep Rising. I am pretty sure I saw this movie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw this movie when I was younger, but I remembered basically none of it. So when they have that like fucking King Kong Skull Island tease at the end, I was like, "The fuck?"
Yeah,
and then I'm so sad that it never happened. I had literally no idea that this was supposed to be like an unofficial official King Kong fucking tie-in. Had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Crazy. And now I'm so sad because King Kong went into fucking development hell for like 8 years, and then you're gonna tell me instead of the Steven Summers King Kong that would have been like fun and like entertaining, we got the fucking 3-hour long boat ride where nothing happens until everything happens over the span of like 10 minutes, and it's kind of cool, and then it goes back to being boring for an hour and a half.
And then the print throws in the middle of all that, and you have to go upstairs and fix it, and then go back down and finish your fucking movie because you're being paid to screen it, and you hate every second of your life.
Bro, you should have done yourself a favor and just left it on the ground. Not all fucking heroes wear capes. Some just leave King Kong prints on the fucking floor of the projection booth, man.
When it threw, I just sat in the theater for a moment. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because that was like a 9-reel movie. I knew what happened immediately the minute it stopped. There was only one thing that could have happened, and I was just like, and I had to go upstairs and pick it up and get it going again. It was fucking awful. And then I had to sit through it again. I was like, you mean I still have to go back down?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie fucking sucked.
I got paid to watch it, and I wanted to walk out. I watched it on an airplane, and I wanted to walk out.
Oh, my God. So why don't you talk a little bit about what made you want to pick Deep Rising for the show?
Well, one, it's creature feature. And
this is 1000% like this and Tremors, I would say, are like the ultimate like Ron Wombo combo of his types of movies.
Well, this movie is Tremors. It really is. Like, this movie starts out as a nod to Aliens, right? You've got Treat Williams driving the thing. You've got your Colonial Marines in the back gearing up. You're getting ready to go into the colony. You get into the colony, aka the boat, and there's no one there. And there's supposed to be a bunch of people. Like, the whole thing is aliens at the beginning of the movie. And then you move into Tremors once we reveal the monster. They even do the graded flooring the way it moved at the front of Walter Chang's shop in the first Tremors. Like, there's a ton of nods. They even have a sound effect. Like a sound like stinger in their music that is from Tremors that they use again and again and again throughout the movie. So like every time you saw something moving in the dirt and then something bad happened, there'd be this like boom sound. They do that in this movie every time they show the tentacle do something. So yeah, this movie basically is Tremors on a boat starring Nathan Drake?
Basically.
I mean, how crazy is it? Like, Nathan Drake doesn't exist as a character yet, and how much is Treat Williams embodying that character?
Yeah, he really is. Especially kind of the even with his like profession. You know how like Drake like always gets like roped into all of these like just dire situations when really he was just trying to like make a little money on the side, being essentially like a modern pirate kind of, but not really. He like that's like the most ironic thing about the games is how Nathan Drake is always just like, man, I'm just here to go, like, I'm just like a nerd for the treasure, but I'm gonna murder like 10,000 people, dog. Don't worry about it. Like, I'm gonna take care of the problem. I'm gonna murder more people than Frank fucking Castle has,
right?
But I'm just in it for the treasure, man.
Well, he's not even in it for the treasure. He's not even in it for the treasure.
Museum, Ron.
That's one of the things in is it 2 or it's 3? It's not about the treasure. The treasure's already been found and been moved and missing. And it's like, great, the bad guy can't get it now. The bad guy can't get the genie. Let's go home. And he won't go home. And she was just like, why won't you stop? Like, the whole thing, it had nothing to do with the treasure stuff and the bad guys. It was the thrill of the hunt. Once he gets the treasure, he's sad.
Yeah, pretty much.
So on top of Aliens and Tremors, and I guess adjacently Uncharted, the good Uncharted, not the movie Uncharted.
Still haven't seen that, so I'm assuming it's not the best, but I'm actually still curious because I just feel like I have to watch it.
It's apparently on Netflix because Christina watched it.
She not like. I mean, Chris hates everything.
She watches Hallmark movies, and she said Uncharted was bad.
Oof.
Let me repeat that. She watches Hallmark movies, and she said Uncharted was bad. Like unbearably bad. Anyway, so on top of all that, like I said, you got Stephen Sommers writing and directing, and there is so much of the Mummy's bones in this movie, and this movie would have been in theaters while they were filming The Mummy, if I'm correct on that math.
At least close to it, because The Mummy was 1999 and this came out in 98, so like relatively close at the very least.
Yeah, so they basically would have been either filming or wrapping up filming The Mummy at this point, right? When this is out. So yeah. It's kind of like, everyone get your shot glass. It's kind of like playing Dark Souls and going back to Demon Souls. Like, you watch The Mummy and go back to this. Like, all the characters are there, all the elements are there, but it's all kind of jumbled up. Like, the wrong characters have the wrong personalities and stuff, or they have traits of each other. Like, you can see it come together in The Mummy.
But just real quick, and we'll talk about this more when we do the rundown. Did you fucking know that Stephen Sommers directed the 90s Jungle Book and The Adventures of Huck Finn?
No.
Those were his second and third directorial like entries in his IMDb list. That's fucking crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's crazy. But no, I've always loved this movie. It's a hard movie to describe because it doesn't take itself seriously while being a serious movie. Like, it walks the line of being a very cheesy sci-fi movie very well, because it is very cheesy, but it knows exactly what it is, and it kind of leans into it in a good way. It's a really interesting, delicate balance to me, because usually when movies lean into the cheese, like, I could take it or leave it a lot of the time, about 50% of the time.
It depends on the people, to me.
It's got such a good cast.
Like, it depends on not only like the actors, but also just like the person writing it. Like Stephen Sommers can go kind of campy. Before he decided to ruin his own career, Joss Whedon could go campy, and I would always enjoy it because,
right.
Some people just have that, they're able to like walk that tightrope, with it, like you said, and Stephen Sommers is definitely one of them.
Also, I mean, just it's Tremors on a boat. I do want to fix one thing that I said last time we met here, and when I was talking about they were like a salvage op or something, I forgot about the whole convoluted hijacking storyline. Virus is what I was thinking about. I was confusing the plot of Virus with this movie.
There were a bunch
of on a boat movies
in the 90s. Actually, what I was going to say is not really The Mummy. Is that, like, obviously, like, there's connections between the tone and Stephen Sommers being involved, but the movie that this most made me think of as far as like the tone is Deep Blue Sea, because I think Deep Blue Sea also like really like leans into that camp while
in the best way.
Yeah, in the best way. I feel like if you're sitting down with a 6-pack of beer, like with your dad on a Sunday afternoon, if you combo Deep Rising and Deep Blue Sea, that is, like,
my god,
an awesome afternoon.
That's too deep. That's too deep. I'm in too deep. No, I think I saw Deep Blue Sea in theaters. I wish I had seen this in theaters. I didn't even know this movie existed till it was already out on video.
Yeah, because it was just a huge bomb. Like, I think they lost money on Deep Rising.
I think it was $45 million to make, $11 million in box office or something.
So,
and
as we always say, that's not including any, and obviously marketing in the 90s is not what marketing is today, but there was still a decent little chunk added to it for marketing.
Right.
And just a huge critical bomb too. It sits at just a 30% Rotten Tomatoes, which I find like really unfair. I don't absolutely love this movie as much as I love like his first Mummy film. I kind of equate this more kind of like with Mummy Returns, where I like it, but I can kind of like see issues with it. Whereas like I think the first Mummy movie is just about perfect, and I can watch that over and over and over again and never get bored with it and always have a good time. I kind of like after we get through the rundown, I'll talk about it too. But I think the opening, as far as like the convoluted plot lines, is a little over the top and unnecessary. Like I kind of wish that, like the fact that like what's her face I don't even know how to pronounce it. Is it Famke Janssen? Is that because what's funny is like you fucking Google how to pronounce that woman's name and you get like 12 different results, and I'm just like, I don't know how to pronounce your name, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna assume
just
it's
call
like
her Fam.
Yeah,
Fam
Jean
Jan.
Grey. So Jean Grey.
So Jean Grey walked into a boat.
So Jean Grey is like a like Catwoman,
Carmen
basically.
Sandiego.
Yeah, she's like Catwoman / Carmen Sandiego, and is just like an international like thief ? And then it never comes up again. So like, why? Like you couldn't come up with any other the only thing I could think of is the reason they do that is to give them a reason to lock her up so she isn't killed by the creatures. But it's just like, man, there's no other. There's like the way you go from A to B is you go from like 0 to she's an international jewel thief. like hello.
So
it's so random.
Then you couple that type of stuff together with things like all the characters always have a gun, and if they drop their gun, they go get their gun, and they pick up their gun, and they keep their gun loaded, and you don't see that in horror movies. Like, they'll have a perfectly good gun, and they'll fucking throw it or throw it away and then run. And everyone in this movie, when someone dies, they pick up the extra gun and carry it with them. Like, everyone always has a weapon at all times. So
yeah.
It's just like
this movie also has like, I like how they take the time to like explain the absurd amount of bullets that these magical fucking guns have, and they still exceed their ammo capacity by like at least 500,000 rounds. Like they have more rounds of ammunition going through these guns than are at Bobby's house right now. That is absurd.
I mean, again, they just wanted to be aliens, right? They just wanted the Gatling gun.
Pretty much, yeah.
And how amazing is that scene when they fire it for the first time in fear, and they all look at each other smiling and just start shooting again? That's such a human reaction.
Yeah. Especially for fucking like murder-hungry gun junkies that are...
You know, with the exception of our heroes, I think everyone in this has genuinely good like human reactions to scenes, right? Like Treat Williams and Benny are basically cartoon characters in this movie, and it fits. It's not in a bad way. It's the birth of Rick O'Connell, right?
Yeah.
And
he could literally be Rick O'Connell's older brother.
Yeah.
Like,
and
yeah,
it works, but everyone else is reacting the way you expect a person to react, and he's just sitting there cracking wise and taking charge. And yeah, I don't know, it works. I told you in text message the absolute best line delivery I think I've ever heard was when Benny is just like, what else can go wrong? And then the lights instantly go out, and there's that long pause, and you just hear Treat Williams go, thanks, Joey. It's just in the silence and in the darkness. It's so good. Great.
Let's run through our cast and crew and everything, and then we'll
everyone in this movie, if you don't know who they are, you have seen them. Like they're either someone now, or they're character actors that have been in a million different things by this point.
Absolutely. So as we've mentioned multiple times, it is written and directed by Stephen Sommers, which most people will know from the first and second Mummy films with Brendan Fraser. He's done a few, like Stephen Sommers has like a really like strange and almost like sad career, I think. If you kind of like just look at how you think of how like iconic the Mummy is, and for him to only have like 10 credits on his director's page, I think is pretty sad.
I know. Because I'll watch anything he does, by the way.
And it's kind of sad because like he's now going on a decade of when he last directed a film, which also makes me sad because his last thing that he directed was Odd Thomas, which I also liked quite a bit.
Odd Thomas is such a good movie.
Yeah, I really like. No, obviously it's not like Citizen Kane or anything, but like, I really liked Odd Thomas. I think it was a cool concept to translate into movie.
I predicted the end of that movie, and I still cried.
Yeah, it's incredibly like heartfelt at times. It has a great cast. which is one of my favorite younger actors that sadly passed away, Anton Yelkin. Like I loved him in that.
It's Stephen Summers with Anton Yelkin and Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
come on.
it's really tragic that just like 12 fucking people seem to have seen that movie. It's very good. Probably the one that like really kind of like ostensibly ended his career, at least for now, is, did you ever watch his G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra movie? Because I did not, but it looked like it. You know how we were talking earlier about how earlier in his career it looked like his films were like just like perfectly like riding the tightrope of like camp. That seemed to cross the line, just judging from like trailers and stuff. But I never actually saw it.
It is G.I. Joe. Now I never saw. I meant to. I saw the first one for some reason, and I wanted to see the second one, but I never got to it.
Yeah, I just never got around to seeing it. The trailers did no fucking favors though. They had some of like, I remember
the movie did no fucking favors on the first one, but I mean I still watched it.
Yeah,
I think I used one of my free passes to see it since I worked there.
Yeah, just a really like interesting and sad career for Stephen Summers. I'm hoping he's one of those types of guys. You know how you'll have like a writer director have kind of like really just kind of like 11th hour just come back, and all of a sudden you know, like they're back making movies. It's kind of like M. Night kind of had that small little run with like with Split and stuff. People just kind of like kind of come back from the dead. What I've been
waiting for, what I've been hoping for is, you're talking about how it's been about a decade since he last directed a movie. I'm just hoping he has like that one idea that's been bouncing around in his head, nagging at him for the last 10 years, because that's how you get like Knives Out, right? Like that's how you get some of the like, Bad Times at the El Royale. I want my Stephen Summers Bad Times at the El Royale movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because whatever
nothing will top the Mummy, but the guy's got so many ideas. You can just see it in his movies, you know. Like
for fucking 5 years, we just added I Frankenstein to his resume, even though he had nothing to do with that fucking movie.
And
it's just like but it's also kind of like a credit to him. He had created like such a like
tone.
Singular tone. Yeah. That movie was aping it so much. We could attribute that movie to being his, even though he had nothing to do with it, because it was just such a Stephen Summers movie.
The deeper the dive we did on that movie, like the more we tried to justify it, it was just like, well, he wrote and directed it, right? No, he at least wrote it, didn't he? No, did he produce it? Like we just kept going down the line.
We refused to admit that he had nothing to do with it. It was like, surely he was at least a producer. I think we even did it like live on a recording.
Yeah,
we like did the IMDb deep dive, the IMDb deep rising dive. Oh man, but yeah, I agree. While I am not as big of a Stephen Summers fan as you are, I obviously love The Mummy. I like Deep Rising. I liked The Mummy 2. Pretty much everything I've seen of his, I've at least like. And you liked his Van Helsing movie a lot too, which also
I love his Van Helsing
just
movie.
Critically like decimated. Like the critics like fucking hated that movie.
Geoff, Stephen Summers, Kate Beckinsale, werewolves. I'm in.
Van Helsing.
I'm in. I mean, Wolverine's in it. Come on.
I saw it. I remember absolutely nothing of it though, so I can't say.
Well, we're not going to go into it here because I'm eventually going to pick it, and it has a story behind it, and I want to talk about that story because I love that story so much.
Okay.
It's got a story about why it is the way that it is, and why the script is the way that it is.
I feel like eventually you're going to have every Stephen Summers flick on the show.
That's the goal.
And next episode,
including Jungle Book.
Yeah, Jungle Book and The Adventures of Huck Finn. Let's go, dude. Let's go.
Oh no,
Summers.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Hey, did you remember that one of the subplots for this was a Doctor Who episode a few years later?
How so?
The David Tennant Titanic special.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the dude was literally trying to sink the Titanic for insurance money.
I forgot all about that. You've watched through Doctor Who multiple times. I've only seen it through the one time, so I don't have all the episodes memorized. I'd completely forgotten about that, but you're right. It's the exact same fucking story.
It's got one of my absolute favorite lines from the Doctor in it, because it's just like, why did you name this vessel the Titanic? I'm like, it was the most famous ship in all of Earth's history. And he's like, did you ever look up why it's the most famous ship in all of Earth's history?
Yeah. What was funny though is I was just a few weeks ago I was trying to sell Aurora on it because she had never watched Doctor Who.
Oh,
And
she
I was
would
like,
love it.
I'm gonna show you an episode that's gonna hook you on it. You're gonna want to watch more. And I showed her the Van Gogh one.
Oh my God! Now show her Blink.
Yeah. Show her. What is it? Midnight? Is that the one? Yeah. Do you want to have a bleak outlook on humanity for the rest of your life? Well, I have an episode of television for you, good sir.
Hey, who turned out the lights? Vashta Narada.
I fucking love Midnight, dude. That what a good episode though.
Oh, it's so good.
Let's see. We've talked about Stephen Summers. Let's run through the cast. So you'd mentioned our main character here, Finnegan. What is this? John Finnegan? Is that his? Yeah, yes. John Finnegan, played by Treat Williams. What was the other franchise that you really liked him from? Because obviously,
The Substitute 2 through 18 million.
All the direct-to-DVD ones, basically.
Yes, I think 2 might have been theatrical, and the rest were direct-to-DVD, if I'm not mistaken. Take the character of John Finnegan, make him a little bit more badass, somewhere in between maybe what Wes Studi was and John Finnegan in this, but keep the wisecracking. That is him in Substitute.
Yeah, he's just one of those, like, what he would end up getting with Brendan Fraser, just ultimate smartass.
Yeah.
Just the most dry delivery of, like, smartass lines you can get, and he's great at them.
There's a moment in Substitute 2 where one of the students keeps bringing beer to class, and he keeps asking if he brought enough for everyone, and he just keeps like staring down Treat Williams and drinking it. And Treat Williams has a yo-yo, and he's like walking up and down the class doing like walk the dog and doing the little pendulum thing and talking about how in like ancient Asia the yo-yo was a deadly weapon, even though like now it's a toy. And at some point in his monologue, he whips around and flings the yo-yo and shatters the dude's beer bottle while he's drinking it. And,
nice.
and the yo-yo comes back to him, and the dude's just sitting there all stunned, and he just goes, next time, bring enough for everyone. And then just keeps going with his lesson.
That's awesome.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I can just hear him delivering that line, too, and it's perfect.
Yeah, he says it perfectly. Like, he was perfect for those movies, which is, I guess, is why they kept asking him back. That, and he kept saying yes. And he's in what's the Land of the Dead? What's the one he's in with the big tank?
I will verify. Bear with me. Let's see.
Everyone hates that movie, but I like it because of Treat Williams.
God, I hate the new IMDb fucking layout, dude. What
so
have you
bad.
done? It's so terrible.
That should have been our topic at the beginning of the episode.
I can't fucking find anything, dude.
Well, I haven't scrolled far enough, I don't think. He's in 127 hours? I didn't know that.
He's apparently the main character's
dad,
but I didn't remember that. I've seen that movie and it's pretty good. I just don't remember him being in it. I am failing to locate the movie that you are referring to. Oh, he voiced 2 episodes of Batman the Animated Series. That's pretty cool. This is Dr. Achilles Milo.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Dr. Milo.
I feel like I should have known that, though.
Now I have to verify Dr. Milo Batman.
Oh, Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, once I show you the picture, you'll remember this character. I just forgot that he had voiced him.
It's why can I not find this? It's one of the Dead movies. I feel like it's the one with John Leguizamo. The one where they like start learning how to use guns and stuff, and John Leguizamo goes on a revenge bent when he's a zombie.
That was Land of the Dead, right? Maybe it's a different actor that you're getting him mixed up with, because I don't.
I swear to God, it was Treat Williams. Let me see, Land of the Dead.
Because I wasn't seeing it on there.
Yeah, there's Dennis Hopper. That seems right.
I think you might have been getting him mixed up with someone else, because he is not in the cast from what I can see.
Or I'm confusing another movie the way I did Virus in this one.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he's in one of those. Is this the one with the big tank?
I think so.
Huh. Well, now I'm just confused. I'm going to be on this IMDb page for the rest of the night, probably.
Trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out. It would have been... Keep going. It would have been what? The aughts, maybe?
Yeah, I scrolled through his IMDb trying to find like what would have been like a parallel to make you think that, but I was just not seeing it.
You know what? I'm just going to Google. Great Williams zombie movie. This is great. Great.
This is going to be the entirety of like every week of Deeper Rising is just the further extents of how much Ron can IMDb deep dive to try to figure out what movie Treat Williams was in.
I just found my new favorite movie. I didn't even know this was a thing. Treat Williams, Joe Piscopo, Darren McGavin, Vincent Price. Buddy cop action zombie movie.
Nice.
Have you ever seen Dead Heat from 1988? Because I want to watch this now.
I have not.
I am all over this. But that's not the movie.
Yeah, I don't think he was in. I don't ever remember him being in like a zombie movie.
Weird.
Maybe he was in.
I've got until January to figure it out.
Maybe he was in this like unknown zombie movie in an alternate like Berenstein Bears timeline that Ron was in, and then the timelines collapse.
Hey, in the multiverse of madness, all of your dreams are just different realities. It exists somewhere.
It's somewhere out in the multiverse. Okay, so I will continue with the cast while Ron continues to deep dive on the Google.
What? Are we doing a podcast here?
Yeah, we are doing a podcast.
No.
So not Jean Grey, Famke Janssen with a name that literally could be like a Street Fighter villain, Trillian St. James. That is the most ridiculous character name I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, I had to put captions on Apple TV and rewind it to hear. Like, surely her name's not Trillian St. James, and it is.
Ironically, sounds like a Bond villain.
It so strange. And I also remember seeing somewhere in like the trivia for this movie that they originally were hesitant to cast her in this because they thought people would think she was too recognizable from
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
Well, with thighs like that.
As she, and by the way, that scene, she's like wearing a fucking dress. They can't even like really see her. I'm just like, that was a carryover from what they might have originally intended from like a different script. I'm not entirely sure. From Tentacle.
From Tentacle.
From Tentacle.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
What happened to her? Where is she?
Famke Janssen. Yeah, it was really weird. Like after X-Men stopped, she just like kind of like disappeared.
She has a TV series or something, doesn't she? Isn't that what she's doing? I see it advertised in a lot of my streaming apps, like her holding like a rose or something.
I am not sure.
I probably have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
This is probably also from the Treat Williams zombie movie timeline that doesn't exist.
Treat Williams was also in it, and there was a big tank and some zombies, some tentacles.
Yeah, John Leguizamo was there too.
John Leguizamo was there. Dennis Hopper.
What is your opinion of Famke Janssen? The silence is fucking deafening.
Here's the thing. She's just kind of meh, except in GoldenEye. For some reason, in GoldenEye, she brought it.
And everything else, she almost seems to be like sleepwalking through the movie. Even in this, even in this, she's not bad in this, but she's not like great. And the X-Men movies did her no fucking favors because the Jean Grey character in those films,
the least
is laughably
character.
bad. It's so boring. Just she had like,
if you know anything about that character, she should be one of the most interesting. Maybe not the most interesting, but one of. And I could not care less about that character.
They had her for like what 17 different X-Men movies, and she never had anything really to do. Even in the fucking third movie, which was about the Phoenix,
and they put her in red in that movie too.
She's barely in the fucking movie and feels like a supporting character in the fucking Phoenix movie, which is crazy. Yeah, they really did her disservice because she had nothing to do. Like, those movies are not her fault. I can't blame her for sleepwalking through those because she had literally nothing to do. But you know, I've always just been kind of meh about her, and it's kind of surprising. I feel like she had like her whole career basically just because of Bond. It's like she was in a Bond movie that was very successful, which kind of like started her fucking, you know, like how Hollywood has like the metric system of
well, they chase the trends, right?
Yeah, they chase the trends. They actually calculate like how much money they're worth as far as like box office, like the trends of their box office hits and stuff. So like she like, I know it's like cheesy, but they literally have like a fucking money algorithm going in Hollywood. She hit big with like Bond and then got a bunch of movies. I think she was also in like Rounders. She's like a bunch of movies in the 90s, which carried over into X-Men. And it's just like, I wonder if she stopped acting because she was just never really that interested in it, because she just never really comes across as someone that engaged with her craft, which is strange because she was in like a lot of famous movies over the span of like 15 years.
Yeah.
Really weird. Just bizarre.
But what's your opinion of her in GoldenEye? Because I thought she was great in GoldenEye.
I think that is easily her best performance. I think she's pretty good. I just also have a hard time disassociating her from everything she did afterwards.
Right.
Yeah. So I think she's okay in this, and I think she was pretty good in GoldenEye, and I think everything else, she is like when Halle Berry is sleepwalking through a movie. Ironically, Halle Berry also sleepwalking through the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
She's like that, where if it like early on, maybe she was excited to be a Bond girl, and then other than that, she's like, I don't really give a shit about this. And if I was presented with those lines of dialogue to deliver in the X-Men movies, I also wouldn't be engaged in actually, showing up and fucking doing anything.
The only thing I really remember about those movies is mostly from the first one, and I remember like a Porcupine Man, and that's all I remember of those movies.
Porcupine Man. That was the guy from the third one.
Yeah, like he goes like hugs someone and like porcupines him, then like does this like shoulder gesture like he's a badass. I'm like, you're a fucking porcupine. You gave someone a deadly hug. What are you so excited about?
And it wasn't even like he did it to like a mutant that could defend themselves.
Yeah.
I think he does it to like a defenseless doctor. It's like, oh, you're so cool. You killed the fucking doctor and you're a mutant. Like, good job, dude.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that movie,
it was
dude. The movie's
so weird.
fucking bad. Yeah.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
God, fuck that movie. I fucking hate that movie so bad.
Everything about Juggernaut. I fucking love everything about Juggernaut. It's so good.
I don't know if this is the same like order of operations as far as like at the end of the movie, but when we go through the cast, I'm always just scrolling on IMDb. But next up we have Anthony Held, who plays the captain, Captain Insurance Fraud.
Yep.
And I swear to God, I've seen this guy in like 1,000 things. I couldn't tell you a single other thing he was in specifically, though. Do you recognize this dude from anything else other than he just has like one of those like character actor faces?
Yeah, I just know him as a character actor. I couldn't tell you specifically. Like, I'm on his IMDb, and I'm like, oh yeah, but like I couldn't have told you off the top of my head.
He's just always that dude in the background, but never like one of the main characters.
I know him best from a Treat Williams movie with a bunch of zombies in a tank.
This fucking end all be all, just magnum opus that didn't happen.
Yep. It's so good, Geoff. You should watch it.
Oh yeah, I will. Kevin J. O'Connor, who would end up being one of the I think scene stealers. Every time I hear him talk, I always think of
looks to me like
looks like you're on the wrong side of the river. One of my favorite scenes in a movie is that scene.
Dude, it's fucking Brendan Fraser. It's his face and the way he says it, and the way that Kevin J. O'Connor, when he realizes that he's right, just like kicks the water and sounds all pissed. It's like, I fucking love that movie so much. Or when he encounters the mummy at the beginning of the movie, and then he like holds up a religious symbol and prays to him. He's like, what? No? Okay. And he pulls out like 50 more around his neck and just starts prayer after prayer. Like one of them's like Chinese or something. Like he just keeps going.
He's got more goddamn contingency plans than fucking Batman does at that point.
He always did have more balls than brains, eh, O'Connor?
Man. Little buddy Benny.
Goodbye, Benny.
Oh man,
He's a fucking weasel, and you're so sad for him at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty because no one should go out that way. It's rough the way he goes out. That
so
sucks. That sucks. Have you ever seen Wes Studi? I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Yes, usually he's a Native American in a TV show, or he's a villain in like a B movie.
Now, is Wes Studi also in the magnum opus zombie alternate reality movie?
Of course.
Yes or no? Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he's the one that like fights off all the tentacles in the zombie movie.
There you go. There you go.
I'm starting to think I had a fever dream at some point.
Derek O'Connor plays wait, so was the other guy actually not is Anthony Held not the captain, or do they have two captains?
He's the owner. Anthony Held is the owner, and Derek O'Connor's the captain.
That's right. Okay, Derek O'Connor looks like he's currently like at all times serving like a sentence on the Night's Watch, and he just has that look to him.
Derek O'Connor gets probably the most Tremors death out of everyone. Like he goes out the way the Doctor did in the first Tremors movie.
Now, how does he die again? Because I watched this like last week.
He
so I don't
gets
remember
pulled through the metal grating in a floor with his leg like up next to his face.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's dude. Anytime someone is bent in half like that, it doesn't matter like how good the effect is. Doesn't matter what the movie is. I am like physically squirming because just the idea of that always fucks me up in horror movies. So no, thank you.
My wife and I were watching Futurama the other day, and we got to the episode where Bender keeps bending the professor, and I had that reaction to that.
Like, even in fucking Futurama.
Even in Futurama, it's like, because his spine's like at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
And it gives him like a new lease on life, and he's like super happy. It's so good. Anyway,
another dude who has just been like in like 1,000 things that I can never think of like what I am remembering him from is Jason Fleming.
Because you watch as much stuff from the UK as I do.
Yeah. He plays what is his fucking character name?
Mulligan.
The new IMDb page needs to go. Holy the fuck, this is rough. It's actually making like the podcast harder to fucking record than it already is. So he plays Mulligan. What the fuck? This is one of those dudes. I feel like he's been in every Guy Ritchie movie ever made.
He's in like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels or something. And
I think he was in Snatch as well. He was in like a bunch of like kind of heyday from Guy
and
Ritchie's.
He's great in everything he's in.
He's really good. He's always like a scene stealer because
he's the one in this that gets spit out, right? And you see him like half dissolved.
I think that's the guy that was outside. I think that's the guy that was outside on the boat that they ran back into. Because I don't think they ever see. I don't think they ever see the Fleming dude again. Because he's one of the people that's wanting to stay and kind of hunker down, and then they all get out of the room, and then he gets like eaten in the background. I don't think they ever see him again.
I timed that scene, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I wasn't super precise, but it was right around 2 minutes. And in that story Treat Williams tells about the octopus, in 2 minutes, the octopus was inside the bottle getting the fish. And right around the 2 minute mark, they start backing away from Mulligan as you see the tentacle behind him. Yeah, it's pretty good.
And I was correct. Yes, he is in not only Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, like you mentioned, but he is also in Snatch. So he's one of Guy Ritchie's homies. And it pops up. Yeah, always very good.
Is Guy Ritchie rock and rolla? Am I getting that confused with Treat Williams?
Yeah, I think Jason Fleming might all. Yeah. Guy Ritchie, did he direct the magnum opus zombie movie that never happened?
Of course. Why not? Oh yeah, dude. One of the next people in the cast list. He may not be on the Screenplay Rewind Mount Rushmore, but he's in the Visitor Center.
Yeah.
Goddamn Cliff Curtis, man.
I do like now. Every time I think of Cliff Curtis, I think of him holding his costume up as the Fire Lord. Oh fuck!
God forbid he puts his arms down, Geoff. Everyone knows that if a king puts their arms down, their clothes fall off. That's just history.
Oh shit! That is
everything
so funny,
changed when the Fire Nation King's clothes fell off.
Everything changed when the sleeves fell. The sleeves were the last line of defense.
when his robe fell off, it was heard around the world.
Oh God!
It immediately went from Ozai to oh my.
Everyone thought the sleeves had perished until they reemerged 80 years later.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh God. So Clifton Powell plays Mason. Another dude, I swear to fucking God, I've seen him in stuff. I can't
feel
remember
like
what
he's
it was.
in every 80s movie I've ever seen.
Totally.
You know?
The guy that plays T-Ray, Trevor Goddard, does he or does he not look like 90s Colin Farrell to you? Because in certain sequences, like, he looks fucking identical to Colin Farrell to me.
Really?
Yeah, like there's multiple scenes.
See,
if you look at Colin Farrell movies from about like 10, 15 years ago and he's a little bit younger, they look almost like fucking identical. It's
maybe.
Crazy.
The problem with me is every time I look at him, I see him with like half a cyborg face from Mortal Kombat when he's Kano.
Oh yeah.
That's all I think about whenever I see him. So I hadn't thought about it, but I can kind of. It's the eyes, I think.
Yeah, he reminds me of like if you think of Colin Farrell's like Bullseye, like very. I think it might even be like that performance because Colin Farrell as Bullseye. That kind of like unhinged.
That performance is T-Ray.
Yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Jaimon Hounsu, which everyone absolutely will recognize.
Digimon Houndsoup, fuck yes.
Love him, always awesome. What the fuck is his character name in the MCU? He's in the Guardians movies. He's like,
I'm not even sure he had a name, but yeah, he's definitely in there in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and he's popped up in like
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. Like he's what the fuck is his character's name?
Blood Diamond.
Blood Diamond is his best performance. I fucking love that movie.
That's his Oscar bait right there.
Him and Leo are fucking astounding in that movie.
I hesitate to call that movie good, but that movie is good.
Well, why do you hesitate? Because I just think it's a really good movie. I have no.
I remember it being very dark and dour and just glum. And
I thought you were saying like you were hesitant to call it like of quality, and I was like, I thought it was very, very good, but yeah,
it was of quality, but I hesitate to call it good. It's a hard recommendation. Like it's like the Elephant Man. Oh God, wonderful movie. Like just cuts out your fucking never watching soul it again. When you next episode, permanent hiatus. Permanent hiatus. Oh my God. Oh, double feature, Elephant Man in 1984. We're just going to shoot ourselves at the end of the month.
Going out with a fucking bang, dude.
Metronome.
Oh, shit. Again, this fucking cast is like full of people whose names I can't pronounce. Una Damon, who plays...
She's in Spider-Man, Geoff.
Is she? Who's she in Spider-Man?
I think it's like tour guide or something.
Oh shit, that's her at the beginning.
Yeah,
that's her. When
she's in all the trailers, you know her from all the trailers.
Yeah.
When he gets the spider.
When 50-year-old Tobey Maguire poses as a student on the field trip. Yeah. He's like the janitor. He's like the janitor who's like 5 days from retirement gets bitten by a fucking radioactive spider. Dude. It's crazy.
He looks no different in No Way Home than he does in Spider-Man. He looks exactly the same. Although No Way Home may be his best performance as Spider-Man ever.
I love that movie. I thought it was probably my favorite of the last like several, I'd say. I don't know, like you know me, I love me my Doctor Strange too, just because I'm an absolute fucking nerd for Sam Raimi movies. But I think thought it
was okay.
I thought
it had really good moments.
As in Doctor Strange 2 or No Way Home? Which one are you talking about right now? No Way. Oh, you didn't really like it that much?
Yeah, it was okay.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
The best parts was when everyone else finally showed up and seeing the three of them together and the way they interacted.
I'm just like such a nerd for Spider-Man and just as just being like a movie nerd, like getting to see those two guys come back and play the characters again. I thought it was awesome.
I was so happy to see Andrew Garfield again because I think he is criminally underrated as Spider-Man.
I agree. He's just criminally underrated in general.
He is, especially if you've ever seen Hacksaw Ridge, dude.
Oh man,
holy shit,
so fucking good. He's incredible.
I can never forgive that goddamn Tennessee accent in Doctor Who though. Holy fuck.
I mean, that was probably like one of his like first performances.
Oh my god! Yeah, I can't believe he got a second one. Yeah, dude.
I'm glad he did. I fucking love Andrew Garfield.
I love him too. I mean, as a person, even he's awesome. But
he's awesome.
That Tennessee accent, dude.
Yeah,
he figured it out in Hacksaw Ridge. He figured it out. He's
amazing.
He's like from Alabama or Georgia or something in that movie.
Yeah, it's perfect.
But man,
I love that Clint Curtis, not to be confused with Cliff Curtis,
right?
Who plays Billy. His fucking IMDb cover photo is him melted in half and unrecognizable from Deep Rising. That is awesome. That is also if you could control. I don't know how much control these people have over their own pages.
I think once you pay in, you have all the control, don't you?
That is also the picture I would use as my profile if I was that dude, because that's just fucking awesome. I love it.
Well, what else are you going to be known for? I mean, at that point, once you're half melted on screen and your mom has watched it, I mean, there's no coming back from that.
It's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much everyone we have from the cast and crew.
His Blade credit is Creepy Morgue Guy.
Creepy Morgue Guy? Is it just the body that's melted in half from Deep Rising just rotting away in the morgue?
How amazing would that be? Someone
Blade's a Deep Rising sequel.
Oh my god, make it so. Make it so.
I would totally fucking watch Blade has like some campiness to it, but I would totally fucking watch a Stephen Sommers Blade movie that like just kind of like
I would watch anything Stephen Sommers did for the MCU.
Yeah. He would have been a good pick for did you watch what is the fucking Werewolf by Night? The special they did for Halloween? I feel like that's something that he would have been great at. Michael Giacchino is fucking awesome for his direction in that, because it's really good. But that is also a project that could have been like perfect for Stephen Sommers, because it is a just love letter to like 1930s monster movies, and that is Stephen Sommers like fucking bread and butter.
That man knows his Universal monsters.
Yeah.
So he grew up watching them with his dad, so he's like obsessed with the Universal monsters.
Yeah. But so let's talk about run through some of this like plot points and stuff inside the movie itself, since we've gone through the cast and crew. We've kind of like talked about scenes here and there. I think the beginning of this movie is like very poorly constructed as far as like it being unnecessarily convoluted.
Yeah.
Like we talked about how Ron, why is the cruise in the middle of like a fucking tsunami, like just nightmare fucking area? Because like you can tell when hurricanes are coming from like several weeks away. So you're saying our giant awesome cruise that's meant to be this like kind of like getaway thing for all these people that are wanting to go and like have their money well spent, and they have boats and shit on the outside where it looks like there's supposed to be events happening for the guests like outside as well, and we're gonna be cruising through the tsunami to end all tsunamis. Like
the smart answer is plausible deniability for the owner when talking to the insurance company. The real answer is it's a horror movie, and horror movies have to happen when it's pouring down rain because of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's another thing too. Like the 90s, like just fucking whole hog ripoff of every somewhat horror thing has to be in the dark. It has to be rainy.
Yes,
every fucking movie. Doesn't matter what the plot
1993, Jurassic Park did that with the T-Rex scenes because Steven Spielberg was not happy with some of the effects, and they could hide it with the rain. And everyone has aped that as tone, even when it's not necessary. But if I had to come up with an answer out of my ass, it would be, we know the owner is trying to sink the ship. The storm won't do it, but it would add to the story of the ship sinking.
Because it is also, to me, would almost like counteract that as far as
negligence.
Like, negligence, yeah, criminal, like almost criminal negligence.
He's the owner of the boat.
Tsunami.
He's the owner of the boat.
Tsunami.
Jeff. He's not the captain. He's the owner of the boat.
And also, I wouldn't have had as much of an issue with it if they had talked about it, but I don't think it's ever actually addressed, like in the movie at all.
No, it plays no part in the movie.
It's very bizarre because you'd think somebody would have mentioned it.
The only thing that it does is help hide the boat that Treat Williams runs over with the bat boat, but darkness does that.
Yeah.
I've been on a few cruises. It is pitch fucking black. You don't know what that expression means until you are out in the middle of the ocean. So the rain isn't even necessary there.
Not necessary at all.
It's just setting.
Just really, really bizarre. I know that you talked about it. It seems like I actually take like a little bit of an issue with some of the personalities of the soldier guys, because I feel like everyone is just the same character. Like the only character that has their own quirk is that Cliff Curtis is a pervert. Yeah. Other than that, literally Control C, Control V. Like they have no. Because you think about like, just real quick. I sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna say, like, with like the movie that this is most heavily influenced by, as far as like the structure of the characters and like how they're arranged, is Aliens. And everyone in Aliens out of those soldiers has a personality. You know, none of them are the exact same. These are all the same fucking person. And I felt the only way that they were differentiated at all is that he got really good character actors for them. Because from the page like perspective, like the way they're written is really bad. Like they're all just the same fucking smartass. They're all the same person. They all have the same personality. It's really, really just kind of like, I know that doesn't really matter because they're just there to be the soldier guys to shoot at the monster and then get killed by the monster. But, you know, it's a little bit lazy, I think, as far as them not really having their own quirks, because I think this is something he would actually do really well in the Mummy movies, about how like all the supporting characters are very singular. They all have their own voice, you know, they're more fleshed out, even if they don't get a lot of screen time.
I mean, dude, Evelyn is a great character, and she's a fucking librarian in Cairo.
Yeah.
You know? You're wondering what a place like me is doing in a girl like this. Something like that, yes.
Even the supporting characters that are like all the dudes along for the ride.
The Americans.
The Americans are all like
Americans.
They are all individual, you know, personalities. They're not just like copy pasted like they are here. And you know, it's stepping stones. He hadn't really, you know, you're not exactly coming up with characters when you're adapting the Jungle Book and what was the fucking Twain
Huck
one that
Finn.
you've done? Yeah, Huck Finn. You know, but you know, just something I had noticed, because I was kind of disappointed to see that these guys didn't really have that much of a fleshed out character because of how good the actors are. That was my only kind of like qualm with it. But again, half of them are only in the movie for like fucking 5 minutes.
Well, as I say, in 1998, you don't have that complaint because you don't know who these people are.
It's just with hindsight,
right?
Going back, yeah.
But yeah, there's two archetypes, and that is it. And that is kind of the asshole merc soldier and the asshole merc soldier leader, and that's the only two archetypes being used.
And the asshole like piratey thief guy.
Yeah.
Which is like Treat Williams and so Treat Williams is basically like their version of like smartass asshole, just as like a piratey guy. And then
I feel like
you have Joey. Joey has like a singular voice because he's kind of like just like the kind of like derpy comedic relief. But yeah,
I feel like Steven Summers was trying to make his own Han Solo with Finnegan, because that's kind of what he's doing, right? He's the wheelman for hire, essentially. He's not going to ask any questions. You just, as long as you pay him, he'll get you where you need to go.
Yeah, they even have like a running quote.
Yeah,
like this.
As long if the money's there, then we don't care. Is that it?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of what he was supposed to be, but he's also kind of like the 90s archetype, like action hero with the one-liners and the wisecracking.
I think the actors do a lot of the heavy lifting in this, as far as making them likable, because a lot of these characters are not written that well.
The fact that the budget imploded and they slashed the budget, I think, helped this movie, because we ended up with this cast because of that.
Yeah.
You know, this would have been a far different movie if it had Harrison Ford in it and Jim Carrey.
Well, what's also just like a really, really bizarre thing when you look back at what happens with Famke Janssen's character is, I thought for sure her being like a thief / Catwoman-y type character was going to like play back in with something she would have to do in like the third act to never touch on
it's
again.
It's just a vehicle.
Does not matter.
Yep.
It is so weird. I almost wonder
You
if
keep
like
waiting for the double cross.
yeah, it's so weird. You're waiting for the double cross. You're waiting for at the bare minimum like her skills to come back into play, and like them need to like crack open a safe or just do something that makes her character background worth even mentioning in the first place. Nope. She is just basically
She
like
could have just been there by happenstance, so we don't need the vehicle of her backstory.
Yeah.
And they played, like you to your point, they play so hard on her pickpocketing skills and her lock picking skills, and she's picking the electric locks. You know, like it's the ones that are supposed to be unpickable. She's picking. Like she tried to let herself out of the brig at any time. Why is she eating the entire movie?
It's really weird.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
In the octopus fish story scene, she has a giant piece of bread she found, and she's just taking pieces of it off of it and eating it through the whole scene in the background.
It's real weird. And the only thing I could think of is in Tentacle, Ron. her character was more fleshed out. She tied more into the third act, and because of the budget getting cut, maybe they had to kind of like lower the scope of how the movie's going to like branch out.
She
as
literally
far as, like,
just
what needs to happen.
She literally just became the stereotype of the hero getting the girl at the end. Is really the only purpose she served.
She is what's so funny about her being from GoldenEye.
We killed the other girl, so we had to have this one.
I liked the other girl too. I thought she was cool.
I thought she was really cool, yeah.
And then she's barely in the fucking movie. But what's really weird too is like she's like getting this role because of GoldenEye, and her character in this is basically like a Bond girl. Yeah. She has like this really convoluted backstory that only exists in the first act, is never touched on again, does not matter, and then she's just there to be like the reward for the protagonist, and it's like so gross.
Yeah.
But again,
90s.
We're looking at this through 2022 eyes. You know, like this was not even like this was a complete afterthought back then, because it was just the way fucking movies were, because movies were not intentionally, but they were sexist to a degree, just based on like the nuts and bolts of like what would go into a movie around this time. You know, it's not something that we are happy about, but you can't help but notice that when you go back and watch stuff like this, that it makes it just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of gross. You know, I would like for her character to have more agency, to have more to do, and not have so many like just fucking misdirects, but like they're not even like intention. This by the way, this is making me sound like I'm more critical of this movie. I like this movie. I think it's fine. I think this is one of those
you
like
make
we've
me
talked
sad,
about.
Geoff.
This is one of those I equate with like Skyscraper, where like you can have a lot of fun with it if you can just kind of like shut your brain off.
Right. It's totally okay for movies to be fun. You know, this is a fun movie.
I view it just like that, where you need to like kind of turn your brain off a little bit, but if you just let yourself sit down and have fun and just take the movie as entertainment instead of like art, you know, you can have a good time watching it. I kind of put it in that category.
Yeah, like it's totally okay for a movie to be fun. It's totally okay for movies to be Oscar bait or whatever. It's totally okay for, you know, like your Godfathers and all that stuff to exist. There's room for everyone.
Yeah, you're not going to take, and this is the problem that film criticism has, you know, been undergoing for 40 years and even longer, that I've often talked about. You cannot apply the same critical analysis spectrum to Deep Rising that you do Schindler's List.
Yes.
Not everything should be analyzed, like you said, like it's Oscar bait. I'm not going to sit down and watch, you know, Citizen Kane the same way that I watch The Mummy. They're two totally different things.
You have a different mindset going into those two movies. You know, if you read any amount of synopsis of Deep Rising, you know what you're in for the moment you sit down.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous to apply that same overhead of this movie needs to be a piece of art. It needs to be like
it has to have something to say, Geoff. What is it trying to say?
Yeah, it's stupid. But we've talked about that multiple times, and I don't want to get too far on that subject. But I do think this, and again, I think like a lot of the pushback on this movie is that very thing, where like it got like critically annihilated because The critics wanted it to be a thing that it was never.
Voice, Jeff. It just couldn't find its voice.
The critics went into it wanting it to be a thing that it was never going to be.
Not everything has something to say. Sometimes the door is just red. Like, you know, there's nothing behind it. There's no artist intent behind why the goddamn door was red on page 35 of some fucking book.
Oh, just by the way, I've been most of my criticisms with this movie are in the first act. I think the second, third act of this movie are a lot of fun. Once they get the ball rolling. And this movie, I think, has one of the best character deaths ever that actually caught me completely off guard. I'm so happy I didn't remember it.
Which
Mr.
one?
Digimon.
Oh.
Jaimin Hounsu is a front entrance of the vault thing. When he gets killed accidentally by the fucking owner with the axe, I think my jaw dropped because I was just not expecting it at all. I was like, holy shit, that was a good fucking scene because it really fucking caught me off guard.
That is what Walking Dead tried to do with Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That scene's awesome. Just like thrown for a complete loop. Also, like adding 2022 hindsight of having seen Jaimin Hounsu in the 1,000 movies added to that because I was expecting him to be one of the like last soldier dudes to be alive just because he's Jaimin Hounsu.
Right.
But he wasn't Jaimin Hounsu yet. So to see him get like just like literally just fucking axe in the forehead instantly
axe him
by one of the survivors, man. Like that, he doesn't even ever see the monsters. That's fucked up. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good piece of writing right there. Like just real good, like legitimate shock value that isn't annoying. That is just like additive to it. I love.
I mean, it makes sense. The thing that I love about this movie that kind of shocked me watching it again is these people are not acting like your typical horror movie protagonists. I mean, they do fall into some tropes, but overall, they're thinking and they're reacting in the way you would kind of expect people to react, and they're having human reactions to things. Jeff, when we get back to Treat Williams' boat, we take a moment to mourn the girl that died, the tour guide.
Yeah.
How many movies would just forget the tour guide was even a thing?
Yeah, it's true.
You know, and like we talk about it, and then we have a moment with Benny trying to fix Hercules, I think was the name of the engine. And he literally has to stop because he's overcome with emotion for a moment, but you can tell he's trying to focus because if he doesn't, they all die.
Yep.
And then he kind of gets it together and gets back at it. But like he has to have a moment, and it's just, you don't see that in movies. And like I was talking about
with this time period.
Yeah. And like I was talking about with the thing that always drives me and my dad nuts, the things that we always yell at the TV is get the goddamn gun. That's why I pointed out the guns earlier. Every time someone drops their gun, someone picks it up. Someone has a gun at all times in this movie. And when someone dies, if they can get it, they usually pick up that person's gun too and sling it over their shoulder.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's a simple thing, but it's so good.
It was also like really frustrating to go back and watch, especially stuff like in the 80s where like
they throw the gun.
The what? Sorry.
Or they throw the gun at the person as if that's gonna do.
No, not that. I mean that's always ridiculous. I almost kind of like come around on that and just find it fucking hysterical when that happens to bat now when you watch old movies. But like,
unless you're John Wick, throwing a gun does nothing.
Right. The amount of times in the 80s where like the villain / monster thing is like quote unquote dead on the ground, and instead of like double tapping and taking care of the problem, make sure it's not a problem, they like clearly the thing or person could still be alive, and the person like sits down next to a person that's like injured or something,
right.
And then they left the gun like a mile away from where they go to like check on the person. It's just like, what are you doing? That always takes me out of the movie where you want to like yell at TV. Like
it's artificial tension because invariably the thing is grabbing them and they're trying desperately to get to the gun, but it's pulling them away from it. And are they going to get the gun or not? And it's just like, why did you put it down? It's like a handgun. You can put it in your pocket. You can put it in your belt. You can just hold it.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you even put it down? Because believe me, if I went through some of the shit that happens in movies, I will be all guns. I will be all guns.
You'd be glued to that. Yeah,
just guns
you'd have,
all over me. I'd be a walking arsenal.
You'd have like the like one of the walls in your house would look like fucking Bert's arsenal that he's got. Yeah, exactly.
Bert and Heather.
Yeah. It's
is there any camera pan, any camera pull out better in any movie than in Tremors? When they run out of ammo, they throw their guns down, the camera pulls out, and the whole wall behind them is guns. And they're loaded. They just pull them off the wall and start shooting.
The only one that gets close to it is the same camera pull out to show the graboid head on the wall.
Yes.
That's also really good.
Also in Bert's basement.
Yeah,
both of those shots happen
room.
in Bert's basement.
Gotta love it.
She's not coming back, Earl. She called me, told me to send her the HK91. Oh, I'm sorry,
over.
Bert.
Bert, one of the greatest fictional characters of all time.
Oh, so good. Well, I don't think I said this in the Tremors episodes. People need to go to YouTube and look at Burt Gummer like running for president from his bunker.
Oh, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, I forgot about
it's
that.
It's the Shrieker Island promos, but like it's him with like a handy cam in an underground bunker just talking politics and like doing an ad campaign for president. It's so good. It's Michael Gross as Burt. He's wearing that stupid hat and that vest and everything.
Yep. Good shit. Good shit.
Oh, it's so good.
So what are some other like standout moments from here that you wanted to talk about?
It's stupid, but I like the Sea-Doo chase inside the ship.
The Sea-Doo chase is pretty fun.
The Sea-Doo chase is pretty fun, and having
it's pretty
been
dumb.
Yeah,
but it's fun.
Having been on a cruise ship, I can tell you they're a big loop. So when they go away from the exit they want, and then they curve back around to it, like cruise ships are just a big like track, like walking like track and field track, just a big loop with multiple levels. So them running all through the ship and then coming back. I think the Octolus reveal is pretty cool, and the way they show you that it's got some level of intelligence because it's vindictive to treat Williams. It doesn't just eat him; it like punches him and like slaps him around and everything. Like it's angry at him.
I also really like the fact that they take a long time to show you the monster. It makes it more scary for the first half of the movie where they're very like coy about it.
Right.
Like the sequence when they're showing the people that are just passengers on the cruise get taken out, like that fucking poor lady in the bathroom.
Oh,
like
dude.
That seems like fucking haunting.
That lady died like House Shark.
Oh man, why you gotta bring up House Shark? But man, the camera angles, like where it's just like you can see that she, like what you can see what happened to her, but you didn't see like what
you
exactly
saw it without
did
seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good camera work that lead to.
And this is a rated R movie, by the way, but they still chose to shoot it that way.
Also, like you said earlier, you think the overall impact of lowering the scale of the budget helped the movie. That's also probably a thing that helped the movie is with the budget being lowered, they had to be more like tactical with delaying the appearance of the creature effects until later in the movie, and that adds a lot of the horror, the kind of like take a drink, the Lovecraftian thing of like the scariest things are something that you can't fully comprehend or see. So that lends itself like a lot to making the first half of the movie like more intense and make the creature more like interesting because it's always there but not visible and just ever so slightly off screen. And I liked how coy they are about not showing it.
The another thing that I like is if you watch a lot of movies, a lot of creature features or monster films, someone will take like a pocket knife and like stab the thing and think it's dead, like you were talking about earlier. Those guns in this movie are stupid, but there is no doubt that the thing is dead. Like they just melt everything that they shoot every time in this movie.
Yeah.
And they're like everything is double tapped 1,000 times over by the time they're done shooting it. So
they have unlimited, like their ammo counter is just the infinity symbol.
It
just never stops.
It's the ammo counter from Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah.
It just keeps going up until it can't count anymore. And he's like waist deep in bullet shells.
I love that fucking movie.
I love that movie. So that's a double feature that we need to do.
Yes.
You pick one of them, and I'll pick the other one, and we'll do them both.
Fuck yeah.
I'm
just thinking
my
of the
father's
chicken.
eyes. Oh Jesus!
I'm just thinking of the chicken.
Quack! And then when he fires it, it's in slow mo. Just quack!
Cinematic genius.
The guard that's asleep and he's trying to get the keys at the broom handle and he makes all the fucking noise in the world he can, but when the mouse sneezes from the pepper, he wakes up.
I think it's in the first one, but I also like the scene where they're making fun of their fucking over the top sex scenes where they start having like the I don't remember like the whipped cream and shit. Oh, it's in both? Yeah, those scenes are fucking hysterical where they're making fun of just how fucking cringy sex scenes used to be in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Their choice of foods are awful in the first one. And then the second one is when she gets up on the high dive and does that backflip down on top of him. It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hot Shots 1 and 2 will be on this podcast eventually.
When Charlie Sheen and Martin Sheen pass each other on the boats going opposite directions.
Awesome.
They tied my shoelaces together. Those bastards.
Back with Deep Rising though. One thing I found interesting is there's actually some like pretty solid CGI work at times. Like there's times where it looks like a bad like PS1 cutscene.
The Oculus itself.
Where it's like there's times where it's actually like really good.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I wonder if those were the scenes they did like first, and they realized, oh fuck, we're out of money now, so now we gotta have just Silent Hill fucking PS2 cutscenes. I do not know, but there's some sequences like, where it is just like a massive special effect that is present for like pretty lengthy sequences, and it still looks decent at times. It's very inconsistent, which can kind of take you out of the movie, but.
And
I just kind of I intentionally try to just kind of shut my brain off when I go back and look at like
old movies
90s CGI. The only time it ever actively pisses me off when CGI is bad is if it's being introduced to a franchise that was known for practical effects, like with The Thing. That's when I'm like, no, the fucking special effects in The Thing, as fucking like rote as it is, they're not only legendary, but they are like a character within the movie. They're like part of like the soul of that fucking movie. So when you just do the entirety of it in CGI and it's bad CGI, you can go fuck yourself. But like with Deep Rising, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm not gonna judge it harshly for that. I just found it interesting that they actually had some that were like pretty goddamn good considering how cheap this budget was.
I think the setting helps, the lack of light and stuff, but they make everything. And you know, there's we talked about this in the Tremors episode, actually, ironically enough. If the special effects guys talked about how if you're not really happy with the effect on your monster, you just make it slimy. Just add more slime, make it more wet. These things look very slimy. They look very wet.
Does that just kind of like diffuse the detail?
Yeah.
To make I kind of obfuscate what you're looking at.
Exactly. And there's a thing in your brain that it's either scary or gross or both. If it's slimy or wet, you associate that. These things kind of remind me of like a lamprey a little bit, the way that they move and the way that they look. And dude, that first time that Treat Williams is on the ground and it's coming at him almost like a worm, but then the head just keeps opening until you see the mouth. It opens up like 4 different ways. I think on memorable moments we're talking about, I think the reveal that the dude is currently in the process of being eaten. You remember that when he reaches down and grabs Benny? The leader of the Mercs. And then that camera does that pan up, and you see his entire bottom half is inside one of the tentacles, and that's him holding on to the edge of the table is the only thing keeping him from going down, and it's slowly pulling itself up over him.
No thanks, dude. That's really fucked up.
Dude, but he decides to give him the gun, and he shoots at him. He's like, "You asshole!" Runs off.
Now, obviously, he's not thinking straight because he's like being fucking eaten alive. But like, why? Like, what did he do to him at that point to make him want to shoot at him? Like, was that something that was like from like a deleted scene where he was more aggro towards Benny? Because from what I could tell from having just watched it, like, I didn't understand why he'd even feel the need to like shoot at him. Is that something I missed, or something that was? Like,
I think it's just a trope.
Okay.
I literally think it's just a writing trope.
Okay.
You see stuff like that in a lot of movies, especially like 80s and 90s.
Gotta love the instant karma though that it was his last bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the trope is there so you don't make the mistake of feeling bad for him, right?
Oh, okay.
Because if you think about it, like, yeah, he's an asshole, but does anyone deserve to go out that way? Oh no, wait, yeah, this guy does.
Yeah, because they were kind of like they're basically terrorists.
Yeah.
Like, when you get
Not
right down
basically.
to it.
Not basically.
Like,
that was their plan.
Like a lot of them are like, pretty funny, and they all have that like that witty fucking Stephen Summersisms as to like their dialogue, but they're fucking terrorists, dude. Like they're going there to I don't think they ever talk about how openly they're going to actually be like, shooting people, but they are fucking terrorists, so can't really feel too bad for them.
One of my favorite, you're talking about like Stephen Summerisms. There's a beautiful one that is so good because of how simple it is. I don't remember what he says, but Benny says something to Mulligan, and then Treat Williams and Cliff Curtis both laugh at it. And Cliff Curtis is one of the bad guys. He's on Mulligan's team.
Oh yeah,
and
I like that
Treat
too.
Williams and Cliff Curtis both laugh at it. like Benny's like one of the fucking guys or something. Like that's one of the things that Stephen Summers usually brings to his characters that I like. You just have the scene Treat Williams and Cliff Curtis shoulder to shoulder enemies, both laughing at the jab that Benny had on Mulligan.
Yeah, I like that too.
It's just so good because of how simple it is.
Yeah. I also really like the pacing. Once the first act is a bit slow
Once
for me
they're
because
on the boat, it gets moving.
Yeah, the first third is a little bit slow for me because I can't.
It's just Treat Williams and the Bat Boat.
Well, not even just that, but just like I can't shut off my brain as I find when I watch this movie, the first third just so convoluted. My brain is like trying to piece together the details of it, and I'm just like, this is unnecessarily convoluted, dude.
Yeah.
But once it picks up, like it's a really fun ride all the way to the end. I feel like the last hour of this movie goes by in a flash.
Oh, another one of the one-liners that I love that is pure Stephen Summers is when Benny's getting beat up by the mercs, and she's like, help him. And he's like, do you hear that? Those guys are dangerous.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny one-liners in this.
Yeah. Thanks, Joey. I almost said Benny.
I also I like the scene too where they have given Famke Janssen's character the like infinity bullet machine gun thing, and she ends up shooting herself backwards into the water accidentally. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because you expect the scene to kind of like play out like, oh yeah, she's like one of the main characters, she's gonna be a badass for no reason, but she can't even like shoot it.
They tell her it's got kick to it. She's like, I can handle it, and yeah, that is a trope, right?
That yeah,
but
and then you think about it, it's like, dude, I wouldn't be able to fucking control that thing. It's a fucking portable little minigun.
Yeah,
it shoots infinity ammo. Like, you can't fight. Like,
it's a laser weapon.
I'd have to be looking like goddamn Kratos to be able to like withstand the kick of that thing, dude. Like,
you got to be a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus to be able to handle that thing.
Exactly.
Even in Aliens, their Gatling guns had like robot arms on them to help them hold them and wield them.
Yep. I also just imagine. Can you imagine how fucking hot these miniguns would be?
Hot.
From super hot.
Super hot.
These things are just shoot, and like when they shoot them, they're holding the trigger down. They're not even doing like bursts. Like it's just like
like 1,000 rounds a second or something.
Yeah, it's like a bajillion rounds a second, and they shoot for like extended periods of time of like 17. Like you could almost finish Peter Jackson's King Kong and the amount of time that they are shooting these miniguns. It's insane.
Oh, that fucking movie.
That fucking movie, dude.
Yeah,
let's talk about the fucking sequel tease though.
Yes, please.
So I'm watching this movie.
I wish I could have been there with you since you forgot about this.
I had no idea. I'm watching this movie, had no fucking clue, and I'm thinking the movie's over, and then that fucking sequel tease at the end. I'm like, no way. No, wait, no.
Is that what I fucking think it was?
It can't actually. No, it's Skull Island. It's fucking Skull Island, dude.
And then you're like, wait. This isn't my Batman glass. And then you're like, wait. Is it Skull Island or is it Steven Summers' Skull Island? But no, it's the real goddamn Skull Island.
It was gonna lead into King. Like, what a fucking awesome prequel. Because it was gonna be a completely different fucking franchise. It was going to be its own like self-contained story of just being a creature feature, but no, it is a fucking prequel to Skull Island because of course there's a giant fucking octopus thing because they're fucking 5 minutes from Skull Island, and it's also cool because they have been teasing the island throughout the movie. Yeah, you just didn't know that it was Skull Island because it's in the dark. That's fucking awesome. It's like such like a cool fucking just like sleight of hand trick. To have it be a tie-in to that. And I'm so sad it never happened because that would have been fucking awesome, dude.
I mean, John C. Reilly is there, right? Absolutely. Like he has to be.
Yeah.
He's been there since World War II.
Yeah, he's there.
He was this close. he was this close.
Man. But for that to not happen, and then for us to get Peter Jackson's King Kong, is such a travesty to me, dude. Oh my God. It's so sad. Like the missed opportunity of what could have it would have been like a super fun movie, would have had some like crazy creatures in it. It would have been funny. Like it's kind of funny when I think about what like a Stephen Summers like Skull Island movie could be.
It's perfect.
It actually ends up being a lot like what the Skull Island movie we got ended up being. That kind of like tone to it, maybe like a little bit more comedy to it, but similar with really, really good actors. Like I feel like that the Kong Skull Island movie we were talking about with like John C. Reilly and goddamn Hiddleston and stuff, like that is kind of like what I envisioned it could have been, but with from them back then in the 90s. Man, just real shame it never happened.
Yeah,
it's just really unfortunate, which also means they were trying to get Jim Carrey and Harrison Ford for King Kong. Like, what the fuck?
The Riddler and Han Solo.
It's not crazy. We almost got like a goddamn Harrison Ford King Kong movie.
Yeah.
Get off my island.
It all belongs in a museum.
I belong in a museum.
So do you. Wait.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, has its problems, is basically like a prototype for what would end up being The Mummy, like you talked about a few times, as far as like
see the bones.
Yeah, you can see the groundwork being laid of like what type of movie he liked to make.
It's not a blueprint, but you can tell he's going in that direction. There's a through line there.
Absolutely. And a lot of fun. And the fucking sequel tease blew my fucking mind because I had no idea. I wish I could have seen myself because I was just like, the fuck? I am so happy I never fucking stumbled upon that like factoid. Because if I ever knew that Deep Rising was a fucking King Kong prequel, I had forgotten it. And I thank my dumb brain so much because it was so fun to like experience that.
I think next time I plan to watch Kong Skull Island, I might have to watch this first.
For no reason. The same thing. Yeah,
for no reason.
The same thing.
Yeah. Just what could have been.
What could have been. Any other tidbits? I think I kind of talked about everything that I had. Any other stuff with Deep Rising you want to talk about, Ron?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. I think, just wrap up thoughts. I think this movie, while not the greatest movie ever made, I think it's criminally underrated as well.
Cult classic now, I would say. It feels like everyone that does like Deep Rising likes it quite a bit. It just was so under the it was just so fucking under the radar for a decent chunk of time.
But yeah, and Treat Williams was big in the '90s, and I've always liked Treat Williams. I know nothing about him personally, but like, the Substitute movies and Deep Rising, I'm always down for a giant tank zombie movie. Treat Williams
Oh
romp.
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am gonna
Crazy movie.
fucking find that.
I'm gonna be honest, Ron. I don't think that movie exists. I think you.
No, but
I
at least want
in
to.
your dreams.
I at least want to find what I have mashed up in my head. I want to figure it out.
Was it a certain character in Land of the Dead that you just like misattributed him to being? Or
I don't know.
Did you combine two different movies?
I saw that movie once. I think I have combined different movies, and I want to figure it out.
All right. Well, you have a month and a half of homework time to go track that shit down, dude. So when we come back from our hiatus, we will both definitely not have completely forgotten about this conversation and now move on with our lives. But if you can figure it out, I would
What?
be
We have a
curious to know.
podcast?
There's a pod that we've been recording this whole time.
What?
What is this microphone on my face? What the fuck? But yeah, I liked it. Like I said, not. I think what I'm realizing, I look back at his career, and because I don't like the second Mummy film quite as much as the first one, I absolutely love the first Mummy movie, and he has a few other stuff that I genuinely like as far as like the second.
Well, you're
Mummy.
a huge fan of that Huck film fan.
Oh no,
Huck
it's no
Finn
Jungle
film.
Book though. It's no
There's
Jungle
no
Book.
Jungle
Man.
Book.
Yeah. You completely derailed my entire train of thought. Deep Rising, I kind of attribute to there's like the Mummy at like the top of like the fucking tier list, and then like beneath it are a few movies I really like that I think are really underrated, and that is not only Deep Rising but also Odd Thomas. And Mummy 2 isn't really underrated, it's also like kind of like a classic just because those first two movies were beloved by a ton of people. But yeah, I kind of keep it in that second category as far as movies I genuinely like. But I do think the kind of like apex of his career was the first Mummy film, because I have like no fucking problems with that movie.
Yeah,
I think it's just like perfect. I have watched it so many times, can just about recite it.
Every time
fun.
Every time you talk about it, I hear the music.
Yeah,
like them in the airplane running from the sand. Like I hear that music in my head every time you talk about the Mummy. It's so good. Everything about that movie is so good.
Like just wonderful supporting cast. Just I know we're completely like derailing our talk of Deep Rising, but just talking about it, just like the first Mummy film is just
well, it all relates though.
Yeah. It like Deep Rising walked so that the Mummy could run.
Exactly.
And I love it for that, because without Deep Rising, Deep Rising was not this huge juggernaut of like a box office success. We unfortunately did not get to see like what he would do with King Kong, but because he showed that he could do something with some like more horror elements to it, like shocking. The Adventures of Huck Finn, not a horror movie. Jungle Book. I don't know. Is the 90s Jungle Book movie so bad where it could be considered a horror movie? I have not seen it. I don't think.
I don't even know. Like, is it a live action thing? Like,
it is live action. Yeah, it is a live action like remake that he made in it's like 94. It's like second movie or something crazy. I saw that in his IMDb page and did like a triple take. I was like, the fuck? Because I always just associated him with like the Mummy and Deep Rising and shit. Not fucking Adventures of Huck Finn and Jungle Book. Like, what a career 180 to like pivot to be doing like creature feature stuff from that. That's wild.
The Jungle Book.
Are you researching the Jungle Book?
Oh, holy shit. I know this poster. What is this? I know that poster.
I think I saw it, but fuck, I don't think I watched.
Neill?
Sam Neill's in the movie?
Sam Neill, John Cleese?
Who are they play?
Sam Neill is Bryden, John Cleese, Lena Headey.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Mind blown, dude.
Farron Tahir or whatever. Is he the dude from Iron Man?
Maybe.
Let me see. Yes. Good. I'm not racist. They don't all look the same to me, Geoff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Star Trek, Iron Man. I never saw Elysium. Wow. What is this movie? I'm not watching it.
Yeah. Just weird artifact in Hollywood history is that fucking Stephen Sommers Jungle Book film that has like some really good people in it, but what the fuck? Why does it exist? If you would like to follow the show more, like we mentioned earlier, we're on Twitter at SPR Filmcast. Once we're actually coming back from the break in a month and a half or so, we will be dropping a tweet probably to kind of like be just a reminder of like when we're going to be dropping the next episode. You think it'll be sometime in early January though?
Yeah, probably mid January. I don't have a date yet.
Okay, gotcha.
It depends on flights and getting this room back to being a studio type room.
Gotcha. So you're saying they're not down to join as co-host of Deeper Rising, the epic.
Oh my god!
Eventually, we're going to just write the King Kong sequel that never happened. That's an interesting experiment.
Mowgli is the voice of David in Lilo and Stitch. Is also Whitey in Back to the Future 2, and he plays Bruce Lee in the Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
What is this fucking movie, dude?
I do not know.
What the fuck?
He's of Hawaiian and Chinese descent. There's a mix for you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
Honestly, had forgotten that movie existed. I remember there being a Jungle Book film that was made in the 90s. Because I think we owned it on like VHS when I was a kid.
Oh my god, Sam Neill's mustache is glorious. It's Sam Elliott levels.
Nice.
I gotta find a better one.
You have to send me the pic of it, because I'm all about Sam Neill and his glorious hypothetical mustache that you were telling me about.
Oh man, this is nuts.
I like how Ron has spent half of this episode just like scrounging through IMDb. I went down
my own Deep Rising.
Yeah.
Lena Headey does not look like Lena Headey in this. She is so young.
Who does she even play in that?
It looks like they went a Tarzan route. She's basically Jane, it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Is what it is, how it's looking to me.
Okay.
Okay, I'm getting the screenshot. I'm doing it. Kirby? Look at this.
I'm waiting. Okay, that's pretty fabulous. That's holy shit, that is young Lena Headey.
Right? Like, if I didn't tell you that was Lena Headey, would you know that's Lena Headey?
I would recognize her, but I would do like a double take and then like doubt myself at first. I'd be like, am I sure that that's her? But that's sure enough.
Oh my god. Carrie Elwes is in this?
Who is not in this fucking 94, I think it was 94, mid-90s Jungle Book movie? This is insane.
It really seems to me like they took it in a Tarzan direction. It really just looks like Tarzan to me.
It was wild. Let's see, 19. I'm actually just curious to look up the. Oh wow, Ron, that movie has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. That actually might not be bad.
What?
It has an 80%.
No.
The Jungle Book movie he made has 50 more percentage points than Deep Rising.
Oh my god. The first directing credit he has is for Catch Me If You Can.
Not related to
Leonardo DiCaprio.
One. Yeah.
It's 1989, it's PG, but it's Stephen Sommers doing Fast and the Furious? Is that what I'm getting from this?
Is it about family and Coronas?
Yes. M. Emmett Walsh. I've got some homework to do on Stephen Sommers, I think.
I'm actually curious about this fucking Jungle Book movie with that cast.
You let me know.
With that score.
Yeah, a cast is enough to sell you on a movie. You let me know, and then I'll check it out if you're blown away by it.
I mean, when the cast is led by that mustache, that is worth seeking out. I mean, come on, look
Mustache
at that thing.
Neil.
That thing is that thing has a gravitational pull, and I'm along for the ride, baby. Let's go.
He's more mustache than man. I heard.
I spent more time wondering if I could, instead of if I should.
I heard on a podcast that there's I don't remember who it was now. There's a director that loves Sam Neill because of his mustache. Not Sam Neill. God damn it. Sam Elliott. Because of his mustache, the way it covers his lips, you can lip sync him to anything apparently. And this is apparently a thing this guy does, is he lip syncs Sam Elliott to everything.
I had never thought about that, but that makes a fuck ton of sense. That is really funny.
Apparently, you can just cut in any line, any ADR, anything to Sam Elliott, and it works.
Yep.
Anyways, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, we do.
It's
just
been
like
fun,
how,
though.
Yeah, it's been a fun episode.
If I can convince one person to at least look at Deep Rising, then my job here is done. That was my goal, because, like I said, criminally underrated film, I think.
Yeah, do what we talked about earlier. Sit down on a Sunday afternoon with some beers, like watch it with some buds, watch it with your dad. Combo this with Deep Blue Sea, and that is like the most manly afternoon you will ever have.
Oh man,
great fucking time.
I want to watch Deep Blue Sea now.
Deep Blue Sea is fucking awesome, and I love it. I love it. You remember LL fucking Cool J?
Dude, do you remember the shocking moment with Sam Jackson about halfway through that movie?
Fuck yes.
Oh my god. Thomas Jane? Come on.
I love me some Thomas. I think that was probably the first thing I ever saw him in, and I have forever loved him since.
Same. But yeah, LL Cool J is amazing in that movie.
Yeah, he's awesome. I like yeah. Deep Blue Sea.
So
fucking
good.
Awesome movie. But yeah, what we will be covering for our next upload in the new year. Crazy to say. 2023 sounds like it should not be a thing, by the way.
Yeah.
My brain does not compute that.
That's
some made up bullshit. Some made up bullshit. We are going to be covering, drumroll please, Ron. I could actually see you editing that in. It's like, no, it's not worth that much attention to detail as far as the editing is concerned. We're going to be talking about The Northman, because I want to give you and I an excuse to finally fucking watch it, since it's been sitting on Prime for like 6 months.
I've been wanting to watch that movie, and then I forgot about it, and then I found it, and I was like, ooh, yes, and then I haven't watched it yet still.
Yeah, I'm such a piece of shit, man. I'm really excited about this movie. I'm really excited about this movie, right? Like several months ago. And I'm like, I really, really want to see it, not paying $20 to rent it. A few months pass. Really, really want to see this movie, not paying $7 to rent it. And now it's just on Prime, and it's just sitting there. Haven't fucking watched it yet, even though it's from one of my favorite current directors. I'm just like, man, I fucking suck. So if you want to follow along, check it out. It is currently in the Prime Video subscription. You don't have to pay anything extra. It's just included with it with Prime Video. It is The Northman by Robert Eggers. It's his follow-up, not related at all to The Lighthouse, but like after The Witch and The Lighthouse, I will watch every movie he does, and I'm so excited about his fucking Nosferatu movie with the fucking Pennywise dude.
I forgot about that. We talked about that on the Lighthouse episode, and I forgot all about it. Yeah, movie is
him with Nosferatu, and what they're gonna do with like the cinematography behind it is gonna be fucking incredible, and I cannot wait. And I'm excited to talk about The Northman.
And it's gonna be interesting because the Nosferatu at this point is a meme.
Yeah. And you know what? He's going to make it fucking horrifying, and it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be amazing.
Cannot fucking wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out The Northman.
I can't wait.
I have been trying to pick stuff that you and I need an excuse to watch. Finally.
I thought about pivoting to that, as I've got a long list of stuff I have not caught up on yet.
Yeah.
I just watched Ghostbusters Afterlife finally, and it's a fucking amazing movie. I love that goddamn movie.
I am also curious to check that out.
And I just found out the sequel to it, the script is done. Ernie Hudson said the script exists. It is finally finished. And when I looked at the date, that interview happened a couple of months ago.
Well, there you have it.
So I was like, ooh.
Yeah. I have been intrigued by that one as well. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate your patience with us as we take these next few weeks off. Have a happy and safe holiday with your friends and family. Just be safe out there. thanks for listening, and we appreciate you joining us for another episode. Another year of Screenplay Rewind in the books, Ron, which is crazy to say. We're going on, approaching what, year 3?
Yes.
Of the podcast, which is fucking bonkers.
Yeah, Halloween was 2 years, so we're now in the 3rd year.
Wild.
Yeah.
So
this podcast is now walking, Geoff.
Yeah. If you started Peter Jackson's King Kong back in 2020,
you'd
when
be
we started
halfway
the show,
done.
you would be in the first act, and just nearing when they might be getting in the boat, but who knows?
You'd be another couple of years away from it throwing.
Be a couple of years away from it, you know.
I don't know why I hold that against that movie as much as I do. I guess because that movie didn't need to be 9 goddamn reels long.
Yeah, Peter Jackson kind of fucked you there.
Well, Peter Jackson needs to learn how to fucking edit.
Now, Peter Jackson knew how to edit.
He just chose not to.
And then he made the 3 most successful, most beloved movies in 50 years. And then he was like, you know what? Every movie got to be 4 hours long.
Every movie is now an epic.
There's only one 300-page Hobbit book? Fuck that. 3 magnum opus epics, bro. 3 17-hour-long movies. Go fuck yourself. That's just what he did.
Yep.
It's a real shame. It's like Lord of the Rings is a masterpiece, and also indirectly ended his career because he felt everything had to be Lord of the Rings after that. And guess what? If you have 3 long fucking Tolkien novels of plot to adapt to the screen, you can make 9 hours worth of film. I don't think you can make a 3.5-hour King Kong movie and it'd be any fucking good, because guess what? Nothing's going to be happening for half the fucking runtime, man.
But 3 hours of Jack Black, Geoff.
You make a valid point. Where'd they go wrong? But we gotta get the fuck out of here. I like how this has become just a shit on Peter Jackson's King Kong roast fest randomly. But you know what? Deepest rising. Sunday.
But we gotta go. We're getting too deep.
Yeah,
Geoff.
We gotta go. Yeah.
We must rise.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening. Have a great holiday. Thanks. Have a good night.
I just love the twist of these things are everywhere, and it's just one thing.
Yeah, with just the tentacles going everywhere. As in tentacle.
That's such a bad. Although next time I play a Pokemon, I get a Tentacruel. It's gonna be the Octolus. That's gonna be the name.
No, you need to have 2 of them and have deep and rising.
Deep and Tentacool and Tentacruel. That's my team. Just those 2.
Nice.
What a terrible fucking team. Deep and rising. What did you do? What did you do?
Oh, fuck.
You blew it up, you bastard.
You maniac. Damn you, Geoff, to hell.
Ba-doom.